we're live. Hi guys, welcome to episode 47 of Security Dog Handler Live. At work on site as normal with these lives now on a Monday and a Thursday around about 8 PM ish, somewhere around now. This light is a little bit bright, I'm not gonna lie. No, it's not that work, is it? I'm trying to find somewhere for this light where it's not blinding me. Is that going to work? Possibly. Josh Green, hi mate, how you doing? I hope you're good. Another week. We are into another week now. It is Monday, isn't it, today? I haven't done this a day early. It is Monday, isn't it? For some reason then I had a feeling it was Sunday. It is Monday. So yeah, we are into another week, another slog. My video went up on Saturday and it didn't get the reaction I assumed it was going to get. I thought that people were going to be a bit more annoyed about the video, but everyone seemed to watch the video and take my points, or they decided not to comment against it. I thought it was going to get a bigger reaction, a bigger negative reaction than it actually got. So that's a positive, I suppose, because I thought dog handlers would have tried cancelling me for being not pro. I don't think I'm pro wages, but seeing it from probably a different side to others. Josh Green, definitely Monday, yeah. For some reason then I just had this sudden thought that it was Sunday. Every day just sort of rolls into one once I get on shift, to be fair. So yeah, obviously the chat box is there if you've got any questions or subjects or anything you want to talk about. Apparently there was it didn't kick off here today, but apparently there was some aggro going on here today. So there's like one main gate, and since this place was taken, it's sort of been split up between 3 different companies. So you've got 3 different companies, one main gate, only one company using it on a regular basis, i.e. security. We're the only ones here. And they all seem to be fighting to have their padlock and their chain on the gate. So one of the companies turned up today and was not happy when they was asked who they were and why they wanted access, and complaining about us having to, well, not me, but someone having to ring to get confirmation to be able to let them in. They started kicking off apparently, and giving some people an earful because of it. Apparently someone's nicked their padlock. Now I have no idea. Ever since I came on here, it's been the same padlock. We've been on here for quite a while. But apparently someone's nicked their padlock and changed their code. Well, and the new padlock's got a different code, and they was kicking off. But I think you could foresee that problem, couldn't you, with three companies having the same access to one gate and yet only one using it on a regular basis. You could probably foresee that there was going to be an issue at some point. So I'm a little bit on edge. A little bit on edge about someone coming back, because they've left something here, and they was complaining that their part of the site is nothing to do with us. We shouldn't have overall say on the front gate because part of this is nothing to do with us, etc., etc. Now what I would say is that with the way that this is set up, if they cut the charges in half, I would say that they are getting over 60 grand's worth of free security. So if I was them, I would probably keep quiet and let the security do their job, because at the end of the day, if someone breaks through that main gate, I'm gonna have to deal with it. Now if they turn around and say, well, this part has nothing to do with you, well, that's fine. But if someone breaks on and starts smashing into your vehicles, or they start smashing into your units, do you want me to do something? If you want me to do something, you either got to pay for it, or you got to keep quiet and just let us do our job. So yeah, a bit of an interesting one about someone kicking off, but you could foresee that happening, 3 companies having one gate and people moaning about padlocks, etc. On one of the previous sites, the building site that you guys would know me for, there was one chain and I think 3 padlocks, and the way in which that they done the padlocks is whatever one of the 3 padlocks, whichever one of the 3 padlocks was unlocked, you could unlock the gate. So 3 different padlocks gave you entry to the site. Here they don't have that. They've got like one padlock, one chain, and it's one code. And obviously the company or the people that tried to come in today, they don't know the padlock, so they started kicking off that they don't have access to their own thing. Now I've been on here for a couple of months now, and although I work nights, I've not had to deal with them. And the guy that does the day alongside me, he's been on the same amount of time, and he didn't know who they was either. So it's been a bit of a they suddenly turned up after 2 months and started kicking off about stuff. Right, there's been a few comments. Sunday was eventful. I'd finished the shift and my battery had died and wouldn't jump off any other vehicle. So luckily the in-laws came to site and picked me and the dog up. Yeah, I think I've known other people to have issues with that sort of stuff, and I had a very similar incident with the car crash, or the van crash that I had. Is that I had to get the missus. She was obviously getting ready to go to work because it was early morning. She was getting ready to go to work, and I had to say to her, "Don't go to work. You need to come down, pick the dog up, leave me on the roadside for now so I can deal with all this, but you need to come get the dog, get all the stuff out of the van and then go home." Luckily one of her managers was driving past because their kid goes to school there or a bus stop there or something, and drove past and saw the incident and then told the missus that she didn't need to go into work. But yeah, I was very similar with the crash, is that I had to get the missus not to go to work, to come and get the dog and get all the other stuff, and then come and pick me up. Probably, how long was I on the side of the road for? Must have been an hour and a half to 2 hours. I was on the side of the road waiting for it to come and get recovered, and then she had to come and get me a couple of hours later and then obviously take me home afterwards. So currently in an enterprise rental while my battery's on charge at the site. See, I had a problem with enterprise. So with again with the crash, when I tried to get a hire vehicle through my insurance and that, they was like, right, we're going to send you to enterprise. They're going to supply you with a rental van until either yours is fixed or it's written off, etc., etc. And I spoke to enterprise and I said, right, there's 2 things that I need. 2 things? Or no, one thing that the van has to have, and that is airflow to the rear cab. And I said whether that's no bulkhead or whether that's a fan in the back or through the ceiling that gives some air to the back, because I'm gonna be using the dog. I'm gonna have to transport the dog there and back, etc. And enterprise said that there was no vehicle in their setup that would allow airflow to the back. So in the end, I didn't have a rental van for 13 days, I think it was, because after 10 or 11 days they end up writing my van off, and then I got paid out and I can go and get my own van. But I think 13 days I didn't have a van due to them not having a van with airflow into the back. Now they did offer to put me on to like their commercial people, and the only thing that they offered me was a refrigerated van, which would involve locking the dog in the back in a fridge whilst I transport him to and from work. And obviously I didn't take that. I didn't take them up on it. So yeah, I think for 13 days I didn't have a vehicle for. But I did say to them, like, all you need to do is take part, like I have here, just take this part of the bulkhead out and I can get airflow to the back. And they were saying something like it's against their policy or it's against their insurance to make any modifications in terms of taking out the bulkhead for a rental, etc. So that was a bit of a pain in the arse. So I'm surprised that you've got an enterprise rental that you can get airflow to the back. No, I'm not saying you haven't, but where I was in Kent, the main dealers or enterprise dealers around that area had nothing on their forecourt that could do that for me. Should be one padlock and chain with a code lock that only the security teams know. Yeah, that's exactly what it is here. And like I say, he was complaining that we're nothing to do with his site. Now you kind of have to go through the gate, through his site to get to where our site is, and then there's a site further on. So he was complaining that his stuff is nothing to do. Now obviously we need to gain access through that gate in order to get up to where we are. And like I say, at the end of the day, if he wants to complain too much, then he will have to start paying for us to be here, and then they can start paying me double. But at the moment he's getting probably over, if they split the charges in half, he's probably getting over 60-70 grand's worth of security for free at the moment. So like I say, if I was him, I'd probably keep stum. Rafscath. I'm finding your content very helpful, mate. Looking to book NASDU for late February, March when my Dutch herder reaches 12 months. Well, best of luck for that. Glad that you're finding my content helpful. Hopefully there's some stuff in there that is either giving you some insight into what it's actually like to be a dog handler, giving you some insight into stuff that you'll need to know, giving you some insight on stuff in order to get set up properly. I think in my last live I did speak about when I first got into this, there was no real content about what you're really going to want in order to set yourself up correctly. I think I've tried to do that a little bit with my content so that people on their first shift are more prepared. I think me and Josh? I think me and Josh spoke quite a lot about it in one of the last live. So episode 46, me and Josh spoke quite a lot about keeping warm, and Josh said that his first shift in October was an eye-opener to him about having to stay warm. And I went a little bit into it because one of my first shifts was like the start of January, which is obviously awful. So yeah, I think going through that live about trying to keep warm, etc. Certain things people use, and things like that. So hopefully there are some stuff in my content that will help you be prepared for your first shift, but also help you to know what to sort of know what to research that you're going to need to know for your NASDU, etc. Strike Thunder, evening mate, how you doing? Josh, yeah, it's a Transit Custom with no bulkhead. They were a bit funny when I mentioned I would have a dog in it, so I had to pay a high deposit. Absolutely classic from car companies, rental companies, or big corporations, that the moment you mention something that is out of the ordinary, they all of a sudden come up with a random higher price that you need to start paying. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered to me because obviously mine was going to be through car insurance, so it would have made no odds to me. But that's just absolutely classic, isn't it, of big corporations or rental companies or anything like that. At the moment you mention something that's not the norm, all of a sudden they go, oh, that's funny because that's going to cost an extra 15 quid a day, 20 quid a day, or whatever it's going to be. It's absolutely classic, isn't it? I think one of the reasons why the other guy was the day guy, why he was a little bit nervous about what happened today, and obviously, like I say, why I'm a little bit on edge is that it's been told to us that the guy that this got taken off of was put inside over an assault incident. So I think that there's a little bit of history in terms of some violence on site, which is probably why we're here, to be honest. So I think that's why I'm a little bit on edge, and I think what the day guy was thinking as well, the same thing. I don't think it's the same guy that turned up today, but I think that when you start working a site that's got a history of some violence or whatever, things like that, it definitely does put you on a bit of an edge when, even if it's not them, when someone else turns up and they start getting a bit aggy about minimal things as well, like not even like a massive thing, like minimal. I'll get the deposit back as long as the dog doesn't eat the van, which I said wouldn't be possible with her being in a cage. Yeah, I think that, obviously transporting animals, that's probably what they are worried about. I mean, why they would think that you would just throw a dog in the back of a transit and then start driving is beyond me, isn't it? Like, I can't see any reason why I'd throw a dog in the back of a transit that's not in a crate and then just start driving. It's pretty mental. I can understand maybe they're thinking about the front, but yeah, obviously you'll get your deposit back because the dog's in a crate and the dog's not going to get to anything, is it? Still got some problems with the whiplash from that crash. I went and saw a chiropractor, so they through the claim and things like that, they got me some chiropractic. They got me some chiropractic sessions to try and help with my whiplash and things like that. I keep getting this nook in my neck here, so when I look to the right, I get a bit of a nook in my neck, and I was explaining that to the chiropractor the other day. Explained it to him. I was like, look, I work on a site, I have to keep looking left and right, and I keep getting a nook in here. And the chiropractor said, you know what you need to do with that? I said, what? He said, don't look right. So that was helpful. Sounds like a real competitive business, dog eat dog. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but there was a comment on last Saturday's video, and I think it's an argument I hear quite a lot regarding the wages of a security dog handler compared to a security guard and things like that. And someone said about the cost of the dog, what the dog costs you each year. That should be added onto your wages so that you earn the same as a security guard plus the dog, etc. So I said to someone, I can do a video on that. I can do a video about my expenses in terms of the dog. So if anyone is interested in me doing that video, I can do a video on what the dog costs in terms of keeping him in work. I will add food and things like that so that people get an idea and things like that. But I do have my own thoughts about it. That probably I can put out there and see if people agree or disagree. But I think that's the biggest argument I see about wages is from dog handlers saying that they have to pay out X, Y, and Z in order to be able to work the dog, etc., etc. So if people are interested, I can do that video for Saturday, and I'll just run through roughly. I mean, I could never be exact, but I can roughly work out how much the dog costs me in terms of keeping him as a security dog and things like that, and do like what you typically spend throughout the year. Just a quick insight to that is that they was talking about sort of the cage and all that sort of stuff, and just a quick insight to sort of my thoughts on it. Now, yes, in order to have the dog, maybe you need a specialised vehicle, i.e. a van. You don't have to. You can have an estate car or something like that, as long as it can obviously fit a cage that the the cage is big enough for the dog, you can have that. But they were saying that like you need to have a specialised vehicle, i.e. a van. You need to have a crate and cage and things like that. Now, just a little insight to sort of my feelings on that is what I would say is that you never hear sort of tradesmen complaining about having to buy tools in order to do their job. They understand that if you are setting yourself up as if you're setting yourself up as a plumber, you understand that you're going to need to buy certain tools, wrenches, maybe screwdrivers, certain bits of plumbing tools. You understand that you're going to need to buy that in order to be able to do the job that you're doing. So I think when you start talking about the vehicle, I mean, yes, specialised vehicle, but if obviously I didn't have this van for security dog handling, I would need to have another vehicle. So it's not as if if I didn't have this vehicle, I wouldn't have to have one. I would obviously have to have one. But when you start talking about having a specialised vehicle or having a vehicle in order to do this job, things like cages and different things like that, I see that as the cost of setting myself up to be in this industry, because without the crate, without all that certain stuff, I can't be in this industry. So I can do that. I can do a video on that and maybe deep dive a little bit more into it. But I think that you have to be careful when you start saying, well, we should be on a higher wage because we have to buy a cage, a crate or whatever. We have to have a specialised vehicle. Well, that's the cost of, I mean, especially if you're a self-employed dog handler, that's the cost of setting your own business up. If you were setting yourself up as a self-employed plumber, you would need to buy all the tools that you would need to be a plumber. So to me, there's not a massive difference to that. So like I say, if people are interested, I can do that video for Saturday, and like I say, I'll run through a lot of the costs that it costs me to keep my dog going throughout the year, different things like that. And then we can see of a typical minimum wage dog handler next year. If we take that bit off, then we'll see how much your wage is. Then obviously you can take all your tax and PAYE off after that, but you'll see how much it actually costs. Because I'm not the stingiest, so I wouldn't say that my dog goes without. If I need to get something from my dog, or I need to get something for work or whatever, anything like that, I will go out and buy it. Now, what I would say is that I don't overspend as well, is that I don't go crazy buying every little thing that he needs, or I buy him okay food, but I'm not going to go out and spend, like I've heard that like raw food is very expensive on a week-to-week basis. Now, I'm not going to go out and do that because Coop gets everything that he needs out of the food that he has now. So I'm not going to go and overspend on certain stuff, and some people will, and I think that that's up to each individual handler what they want to spend in terms of food and different things like that. So there obviously are bigger extremes to probably what I do, but what I would say is that my dog doesn't go without. He has everything that he needs and things like that, but I'm just sensible about it. And if you're not sensible, if you're earning a certain wage and you're overspending on the dog, then that's not the company's issue that you're working for. That they shouldn't be paying extra because you're overspending on what's the word? So you're overspending. You're overspending on stuff that you don't need to, I think is the right way of putting that. We managed to dodge the snow last week. I know up north some places were getting snow and things like that, but in Kent we had some freezing temperatures. I think it got down to -4, -5. Some of the lows of a night in the shifts last week. But we managed to dodge the snow, which is decent. And I think this week the weather's meant to be picking back up to somewhere between 7 and 10 degrees, so not too bad. I've probably of an evening it's probably going to be down at sort of maybe 3 or 4 degrees. So in terms of dog handling, you can kind of deal with that. Obviously, if you've got a heat supply in order to keep yourself warm, you can kind of deal with that. Last night it absolutely bashed it down. I didn't bash it down, but it rained constantly last night. So obviously go out, do the job, things like that. But in terms of getting the dog out just for play and things like that, I've said many times before, like, I don't mind getting the dog out and doing some play, or if we do a patrol, doing a bit of play then, but I'm not going to get the dog out for 15-20 minutes whilst it's pissing down with rain just for a bit of enjoyment. It's going to make the dog wet. The dog isn't going to enjoy it. The dog's then going to be sitting there soaking wet in the van. Even with the towel, even if I towel him off, like, you can never get him dry. So although I go out, do our job, and maybe after a patrol we have a bit of fun, etc., I'm not getting the dog out just for a bit of play whilst it's pissing down with rain. But I think that we're going to be heading into that. I think, like I said, one of the other things, I think we got 3 or 4 months ahead of us of that, so it's something to look forward to, isn't it? In the summer it's too hot and we can't do anything because it's too hot for the dogs, and then in the winter it's too wet or whatever. But a bit of water never hurt anyone, really, did it? So getting the dog out and doing some bits and pieces is not going to hurt him. Had to been trying to put off Christmas for as long as I could, so I said to the missus that she could do Christmas once she finishes work for Christmas. So I think she's finishing on like 12th or 13th of December, and I said to her, you can do Christmas after that, because I don't want to be in charge of sorting Ollie out in terms of the Christmas tree and Christmas decorations being everywhere. And as I've said before, occasionally when I'm sleeping during the day and that, he can get up to a bit of mischief and that. So I was trying to put off Christmas as much as I could. Now what we do have is that when Cooper was a puppy and we kind of bought our first Christmas tree together, is we bought like a half tree. So the first sort of 3 to 4 feet, probably 4 feet of the Christmas tree is just the stump. Do we call it the stump? Is the trunk, and then from sort of 4 feet upwards, that's when the tree starts coming out, and that's obviously where you hang all your baubles. And we've got a couple of boxes we normally put it on. So we had that for Coop, and now we've got Ollie. Although last year she bought a full Christmas tree because that's what she wanted, we've now gone back to the half Christmas tree. So Christmas is up in our house now because we've got a tree that is not puppy proof, but gives us a fighting chance against a puppy that's sitting around a little bit bored doing nothing. So Elf on the Shelf is out as well, so I've been having a bit of fun with Elf on the Shelf. He's been finding himself in some drawers and a fridge and different things like that. But yeah, so it's going to be a long month trying to keep the puppy away from the Christmas tree. I did see a picture that someone posted up of when you have a cat at Christmas, and basically they'd got some bits of 4x2 and built like a big shield around the Christmas tree from floor to ceiling to wall of a bit of 4x2 and some chicken wire to stop the cats getting there. And I thought that's exactly what I need with Ollie, so that he doesn't get himself into any mischief. But yeah, if anyone's got anything, any topics in the chat box, other than that little story at the start, and obviously Christmas, I don't have too much going on. This is just the Christmas sprint in now. I think I've mentioned that on every live, don't I? This is the Christmas sprint in. Just knock off every shift, go week by week, and before we know it, we'll be off for Christmas. Not every dog handler is. I think that's one of the things in security dog handling, is obviously security that doesn't take a holiday, so there will be lots of handlers that are working Christmas Day and things like that. I won't be one of them, but that is something to consider if you're leaving an office job, especially because a lot of office jobs you finish on this year you'll probably finish on the 22nd, and then you'll probably go back on the 3rd or 4th or whatever. That in security, unless you save your holiday, you're not going to be off Christmas Day, Boxing Day, in between Christmas and New Year. You don't. That's not a standard holiday. You have to save your holiday up, and I think it's quite easy in office jobs and that, because they take them days off your allowance before when the year starts. So for example, if you get 25 days, if there's going to be 4 days between Christmas and New Year that you're having off, they'll just take them 4 days off you, so that you've only got 21 days, and then you kind of know. I think what a lot of security dog handlers do, and I've heard this before, is that they get, let's call it 25 days. Lots of dog handlers probably get more, but let's call it 25 days. Is that they get that 25-day allowance at the start of January, and they smash through it, and by the time they've taken a week off in October, whatever it is, they're left with a couple of days, and then all of a sudden they get to Christmas and they want to have Christmas Day and Boxing Day off, and all of a sudden they haven't got enough holiday to cover it. So if you are getting into this, and I think I've done videos or I've spoken about this before, about being sensible with holidays and not taking the piss, not smashing through all your holiday, and then getting to November and then start asking for days off here and there when you've got none left. I think you have to. It's definitely something in security with holiday, that you have to manage it very well, and you have to look long distance in terms of taking holiday at the start of the year. Like, I always know I need to bank probably 8 days for December, and that's obviously a long time in security. When you get your holiday in January, and especially if like the dog goes ill and you take a couple of days holiday because the dog's taken ill, because you don't want to lose the weight, so you might take a couple of days because the dog's ill or whatever, and things like that. And like I say, before you know it, 12 months is a long time to try and hold on to 7-8 days worth of holiday. But I think you have to obviously be smart, and I think also booking your holidays so you use as many of your days off, a bit like people do with 9-to-5 jobs, is that they make sure they try and fit maybe a couple of weekends, or if they're doing 2 weeks, try and fit 3 weekends into their holiday, so they save them 6 days. I think with what we do, it's maybe a little bit more imperative that you try and save a couple of days, because lots of people in this work Saturdays and Sundays, so you automatically start losing them days. So if you do take a Wednesday and a Thursday off, making sure you fit as many Wednesday, Thursdays into a holiday as you can, I think is one of the best ways to try and keep holiday as well. I'm getting a bit tired. I'm getting a bit tired. I feel like this is going to be a long week, and a bit messed up my sleeping pattern a little bit over the weekend, where I went from nights to days, and then I woke up like 6:30 Saturday morning, and then I stayed up till about midnight, 1 o'clock. So that was a long day. But then I'd obviously turned myself from night daytime sleeping into nighttime sleeping, and obviously had to quickly change that back around, which is always the juggling act of working nights and then obviously having a few days off, is trying to be as sociable as you can in terms of being up in the morning so that you can spend the day doing whatever you're going to do with the kids or the dogs or the missus, etc. But then also not messing yourself up that you end up in a bit of trouble. I do nights, weekdays, and then weekend days, so my sleeping pattern is all over the place. Yeah, that'll do it, wouldn't it? Having to change from working nights to working days, like a flick of a switch, that'll end up doing it, won't it? But yeah, even though I don't work days when I have Fridays and Saturdays off, still, I think the expectation is always there. That the expectation is that you can just quickly flip that switch. And I was speaking to the missus the other day about it, and she said like she understands that the hardest part of my job is the sleeping part of it, and then flicking the switch to sleeping more sociable hours, literally at a flick of a switch. So as soon as I finish on a Friday morning, I obviously go home and I have a sleep, etc. But I've had this not argument, but I've explained this to people before, is that if you go home on a Friday and you get home 7 o'clock or whatever it is, and by the time you sorted all the dogs out and fed them or walked them, whatever you need to do, and maybe you've had a chat with the missus, etc., and all of a sudden it's like 8 o'clock in the morning and you're just going to bed. If you sleep, let's say you get because it's your night off, maybe you give yourself a decent sleep, maybe you get up at 3 o'clock. So you're giving yourself 7 hours, you feel a bit refreshed, you've woken up at 3 o'clock. It's very hard to then expect yourself to go back to sleep at 10, 11 o'clock, where you've only been up for 7, 8 hours. Like, it's not that easy, where if you're getting up at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, going to bed at midnight when you've only been up for 8, 9 hours is near impossible. So I've always explained that to us, like, it's not easy. Like, if you woke up, let's say someone goes to sleep, let's try and normalise this for someone. If someone's working an office job and they get up at, let's say, 6 a.m. If I said to you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right, you need to go back to sleep and get yourself a good 8 hours sleep, do you think that would be possible? And I can guarantee that if you woke up at 6 and you tried to go to bed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's no way you would wake up at, what's that, 9, 10 o'clock. There's no way you could do it. So I think when you're working nights and you're finishing and you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for people to expect you to go back to sleep at 11 o'clock to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning is near impossible. And I think that is that's what, when you say about your sleeping patterns all over the place, that's where that sort of kicks in, is that you can't just flip it. I get sleep as and when it comes. You know what? I've said this in a video before. I can't remember which one it was, but I've said this in a video before, is that I would like to test out for like a week. Now obviously working is different, etc., but I would like to test out for a week. Is like, if I'm tired, I sleep. If I'm not tired, then I'm up. And I'll just, after working for a week and then having a week off, I'll be interested to see when I sleep and when I don't. Now, I don't think that that's ever going to happen. I don't think, obviously, I have things that I have to do, I have a missus, etc. I can't just, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just say, right, I'm going to go off for a sleep, or like 9 o'clock in the afternoon, go, right, I'm tired now, I'm going to go and have a sleep. I don't think that's ever going to be something I could do, but I would be interested if I worked for a week and then I just spent a week sleeping when I was tired and not sleeping when I was awake. Be interested to see normally what time I'm awake and normally what time I'm asleep, because I reckon that my normal day would be going to bed at like 3 a.m, probably sleeping to about 11, 12 o'clock, and then probably being up until, probably have a nap at maybe like 7 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour, and then I'll be up till about 3 a.m. I reckon that that would be my normal body clock. But I think it does depend on, what shifts you do as well, because like when I was working the 16-hour shifts a little while back, my day, so what time did I finish there? I finished there at about, I finished there at 7, I think it was it 7? I think I finished there at 7 or half 7, and I was getting to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock, but then I would have to be up at 2 o'clock in order to get myself ready to be able to get to the site on time. So literally my rota was sleeping from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then being up until 9 a.m. again. So I think it all depends on what shifts you're working as well. I mean, 12-hour shifts to me are an absolute doddle, because like you get up at, what time? I normally get out of bed about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Normally get myself up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, walk the dogs, walk the dogs, have something to eat, sit down, watch a bit of TV, get myself ready, out the door at 5:15, whatever, and then not getting back until sort of 6:15 in the morning, to then go to sleep about 7, half 7, and be back up at sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock again. It's an absolute doddle. But when you start doing 16-hour shifts and you wake up and you think, oh, I've had an absolute touch there, I've managed to get 5 hours sleep, that is not what you need, because you do, after probably three days, I'd say, on that sort of rota, sleeping 5 hours but being up for the other 19 is just is just not tangible. It's not something that you can do week in, week out. No matter what time I go to sleep, my natural body clock wakes me up between 8 and 9 a.m. Yeah, I differ from week to week, to be honest. It all depends if I've got something I need to do. Depends on how much sleep I've got on the Friday. Sometimes I'll make sure that I don't give myself too much sleep on a Friday. So maybe I'll get myself up at like midday or something and get myself up and going. If I know that obviously I'm doing something on the Saturday, so I make sure I get a decent sleep Friday night. But it all depends on what time or how much sleep I'll give myself on a Saturday, on a Friday morning, to what time my body clock starts going. Some weekends, like this weekend, obviously I was up at 6:30 in the morning, ready to get going. There are other days where I'll struggle to get out of bed before 11 o'clock on a Saturday. So I don't have a natural body clock. I don't think a natural body clock for a security dog handler, I don't believe really exists, to be honest. I think that if you work after sort of 2 or 3 days of getting up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or half 2 in the afternoon, you start getting used to waking up around that time. But then after 5 days, I'll shut that off and I'll turn it around. So I'll say some weekends I can be up at crack of dawn. Some weekends I can struggle to get out of bed before 11 o'clock. I've just got a message of someone saying that they was watching me, and I'm not going to say what they called me, but I don't think they was a massive fan of my topics of choice. But what they're not willing to do is they're not willing to give me something to talk about. So, but when they do, I'll do it. But we all know he's not he won't put it in the chat here. He'll probably private message me on something and make it ping up and say, oh, you should talk about this. Oh man. What are we coming up to? 45 minutes. Has anyone got anything else they want to talk about, or any subjects or any questions that they want to talk about? Like I say, the video last Saturday went down better. I was expecting more of a negative reaction. I was actually expecting more views than it got. I thought that it would get a few more views than it has got, but I was definitely expecting a negative reaction. The one dog handler said to me they're going to slit your throat for doing this video, so they was expecting it to be more of a negative reaction than it actually got as well. So we'll see. That obviously that video is only a few days old, so we'll give it till next week and we'll see what the see if there's any more negative comments. But I will look at doing the video for Saturday in terms of like expenses and things like that. And I think it's important to understand that I can only give my side of give it a weekly review. What I'll probably do is I'll leave it a few weeks, or maybe what we got now. So this weekend will be the 9th, then the 16th, 23rd. So maybe the 16th, depending on how the comments go and things like that, maybe the 16th I'll do like a comments video where I'll pick some of the comments from that video, and I'll say give a reaction, but basically give my side to what they say. So that's something I could do, and that shouldn't discourage people from commenting, because I think it's better to see their side and your side. So I don't want to discourage people from commenting, because I'm not going to put their name or anything else in the video, etc. But maybe I'll leave it till after the new year, and then I'll look at the comments and then give my side to it. Because what I have found with people that complain about wages, they complain about this and complain about that, I've never heard a complaint about wages that I don't have an answer for. And I think that's one of the reasons why I done the video, and one of the reasons why I put that video out without really worrying about. I knew it was going to get some negative comments, but I didn't think there was going to be a comment on there where I'm like, oh, I don't have an answer for that. Because every argument that I've heard about our wages, I've always had what I feel is a good answer for, or an answer for that makes sense. So I'm not worried about what people say in terms of their reasons why the wages should be higher, because I feel like I have a good enough argument for that. I said in the video, look, I'm not pushing for dog handlers to work minimum wage. I'm not pushing that the dog handlers should be on the lowest wage. I do agree that dog handlers' wages should be decent. I feel like you should have a decent income for it. But when you see people wanting to get into the security dog handling industry, and every time it's people saying you get no money, it's not worth it, and things like that, you're going to lose a lot of good handlers, because there are lots of good security staff that want to go into, or lots of good security staff that want to go into the security dog handling part, and you're just turning them people away. And then the more people that you turn away, the more crap handlers you're going to get in that are going to be taking their spot. Or their expenditure is much higher than their income and needs something that is more suited suited to them. But I think that's one of my main things, is that people always talk about like they don't earn enough in order to they don't earn enough money in order to stay in the industry and that. But people, I know lots of handlers that have complained about the industry for 3 years. For as long as I've been in the industry, for 3 years, people have been complaining about not having enough money to be in the industry. The money in the industry is no good, etc., etc. But yet they're still here. They're still here and they're still earning. And what I said in the video is that people concentrate so much on the hourly rate, but no one ever tells them what they earn annually. And I think that the reason that they don't tell you what they earn annually is because their actual annual wage is pretty good, but the hourly rate, okay, is not the greatest. But when you put it in terms of an annual salary, it beats a lot of other people's salary. It's not going to beat everyone. There's going to be people in other industries that are high up in their job or whatever. They have more specified skills, or they have more they're more academic or things like that. They're obviously going to earn more money. And listen, look, if someone wanted to, if I could go and earn 80 grand a year as an accountant tomorrow, then I would. But I'm no good with numbers. I'm not great at academics. So the reason that I'm in this industry is because I feel like security dog handling maximizes. I maximise the wage for my skill set and my knowledge. I'm not the brightest person in the world. I don't have a great skill set in terms of, I'm not good at DIY. I can't fix lots of things and different things like that. But being a security dog handler maximises what my earnings could be. I've worked behind a bar. I think when I was 21, 22, I was working behind a bar, and I was working 35 hours in the winter, 54 hours a week in the summer, and I was earning 17.5 grand. And at the time I thought that was good money, but looking at it now, it's obviously not. But I was earning 17.5 grand on contract, so like a contracted annual salary that I wasn't getting paid by the hour, and I was earning 17.5 grand. Now when I started working for my old man, I got a little bit more money, and I moved up and up. And even before I got into security dog handling, when I was on sort of 28, 29 grand, and I was feeling like I've got enough money, I can really do what I want. When I started working in this industry, and all of a sudden I'm earning a lot more than that, I was thinking to myself, well, why didn't I get into this earlier? And I'm hoping that some of my videos, like the one I put out on Saturday, maybe someone that's 23, 24, 25 is not going to put off security dog handling for 5 years earning 25 grand at their job, when they could be a security dog handler in the next sort of year, 18 months, and they could start earning 36, 40 grand or whatever it is. So I think you have to look at it that way, is that yes, you could go and get another job with much higher wages, but I guarantee you'll be working really hard every day for that. Like, I could probably go and earn more money being a fencer, putting up hoardings. I know that that's pretty well paid work, but I know that that's quite a bit of travelling. That's quite a lot of early mornings, quite a lot of long days, a lot of hard work. And okay, you're going to be earning some decent money, but you have to work really hard. And like I say, with my academics, I'm not very academic. I've never got any really good grades in school. I have no skill set in terms of DIY or being sort of handy on that side of stuff. So security dog handling really maximises the money that I can earn, and that's why I push for it. Because if I could go and earn 50 grand a year tomorrow being a plumber, maybe I would go and do that, but there's no chance that I could go and I could do that. So I have to look at it and say, well, what job gives me the best chance of earning the most amount of money? and to me that's security dog handling. I mean, I have no issues with my income. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst. I think, yeah, and I think that's in the video on Saturday, explaining that 59% of the UK income is under 30 grand. Like, just think about that. Like, that's why when I was working for like 28, 29 grand, I felt like I was doing all right. Now, this was obviously sort of 3, 4, 5 years ago. And when I was on 28, 29 grand, I felt like, because there was lots of people in and around, maybe not my friendship group, because my friendship group's a little bit older than me, who are more established, been working at companies longer, and obviously, and have got better skill sets, so they're probably earning more money than me. But definitely when I was earning 28, 29 grand, is that a lot of the people around me didn't have loads more money than I did. And when you look at it, the 59% of the UK are earning less than 30 grand. If you're earning 36 grand, let's say, as a security dog handler, like, I don't see how you can complain about that. Yes, okay, the hours aren't sociable. Maybe you have to work more hours than that. But as I said in the video, like, if you get into security or security dog handler, that is just part of the industry. That would be like complaining if you worked on the oil rig. So that would be like complaining about having to go into the North Sea to go and work on an oil rig. Like, that is part of what the job is. Part of being in security or as a security dog handler is that you are going to be working night shifts. You are going to be working 12 hours. You may have to work 15 hours, etc. So that's all kind of part of it. But when you look at it, anyone earning 36 grand, I don't feel should be complaining, because I think I said in it, 36 grand is probably in the top 30% of incomes within the UK. Like, top 40 grand is top 25%, and there's going to be probably 40-50% of everyone underneath you that wish that they could earn the money that you are earning, but don't have the skill set, don't have the knowledge, don't have this, don't have the what's the right word? The courage in order to do the work. So if you are earning a decent income and you're living a decent life, then I don't see why you should be complaining. I do kind of agree in terms of, if you are a single bloke, so let's say you are a bloke in your 40s, and you're single, it's just you and the dog, and you have a flat, and yes, okay, maybe you're spending, around my way, you're probably looking at least £1,000 a month in terms of flat rent for a flat. If you want a house, you're probably looking at nearer 1,400 quid, maybe 1,500 quid for a house. Now, I would say that, yes, okay, the wages aren't enough, but I think that the whole of the UK, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the whole of the UK is set up for a 2-income household. Now, gone are the days where, probably back in the 70s, 80s, I don't know, I wasn't alive then, but probably back in them days where a bloke could earn 4.5 grand a year, but a house was only 10, 12 grand a year. Yes, you could just afford to have one income, but now people are only earning on an average, well, if 41% is 30 grand, so probably the 50% average is nearer to sort of 26 grand, 27 grand, let's say. And the housing prices are 300 grand plus, rent prices are £1,000 plus, etc. The UK is not set up to be a single income household anymore. You need to earn, if you are going to do that, you possibly do need to earn the man, if the woman's going to stay at home with the kids, or if the man is going to stay at home with the kids, the partner needs to be on 70, 80, 90 grand in order for them to be able to do that. And I think that's why a lot of couples, it's like having a kid is one of the hardest parts, is because it's not having the kid, obviously you do get some help with some sort of income, etc., child support or whatever it is. I haven't got kids, so I don't specifically know, but I know that through like maternity leave, they have women get like six weeks at 90%, and then it goes down to like 40% or whatever it is. All of a sudden, you've now lost, out of the two household income, you've now lost like 25% of the income coming into the house. So people start to struggle. So it's not the case of having a kid, it's always losing that bit of income, and that's what people get so worried about. And like I say, I do understand it for single people who are in this job and they're saying, like, I'm not earning enough. But the UK is no longer set up for a one income household that's under probably 70 grand, I would say. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not on much less than most handlers, but I'm working for a reputable local business who look after the staff. Yeah, I mean, I think that is important. Like, I could probably, I'm not going to, but I could probably go and earn the same money or maybe better money elsewhere. That there's a possibility that could happen, but I don't know whether I would get looked after the same way I do with Prestige. Ever since I started working for Prestige, it's one of the better companies I've worked for in terms of, if I need something, they'll do their best to supply it. So I think, and this is where I said a little while ago about loyalty. Like, there's not a lot of loyalty in security dog handling, especially around sort of subcontractors. Now, I'm not saying that every subcontractor does it, but definitely in terms of subcontractors, that they will go and work somewhere because they're offering, let's say, £12 an hour, and then they'll work for them for a little bit, and then someone else will be offering a job for £13 an hour, and then they'll move back. Then they'll move to that company, and then the company that I was originally working for will be offering £12.50 an hour, but the contract's run out on the other company, so then they'll go back, and they sort of ping pong around, and there's no sort of loyalty. Now, I see myself as a very loyal handler in terms of thick and thin, good weeks, bad weeks, okay money, good money. I'll just plod along, doing my thing, get looked after, be loyal, and then hopefully with loyalty you get the better sites, etc. Where someone that dots around a little bit might get sent to sites further away. I try and stay a bit loyal so that I get a bit preferential treatment, especially on sites and that, because I've been lucky a little bit where one of the sites was only a mile from my house, so I managed to get that site. This one's only sort of 20-25 minutes from my house, I got that. But there are lots of sites that I could be sent to that are an hour away, hour and 15 away. Now, as a loyal handler, I get a little bit of preferential treatment that I might get the closer site, where someone or a subcontractor that's dotting in and out, they say, well, we have got work for you, but it's an hour and 15 minutes away. Now, the 50p or more, the 50p an hour more that you've been earning with the other company for, I don't know, 2-3 months, then 50p or more is going to go pretty quickly when you're now travelling an hour and 15, when maybe you was only travelling 45 minutes for the previous site, you're now travelling another 45 minutes. Them extra 50p's that you've been earning with the other company for a few months are now slowly going to disappear now that you're travelling another 45 minutes to get to your next site, etc. So I think that loyalty will get you far, and I think that's why I enjoy being a PAYE handler at the moment. I'm not saying that it's forever. Maybe there is a time where I will go self-employed, or I might go myself and things like that, but at the moment that's why I enjoy being PAYE, and that's why I enjoy working for Prestige, is that getting looked after, getting stuff sorted out for me, etc. It just takes so much pressure off, and I think that's where a lot of people's frustrations come in with pay, and a lot of frustrations come in with other bits, is that because they are self-employed and things like that, is that the brunt of all that stress comes onto them. where I literally have no stress. It's like I leave here, I go home, go to sleep, wake back up, do some stuff with the dogs, come to site, do my job, and then I go home. And I've got none of that stress around any of the work. Now, obviously, if stuff starts happening on site and things like that, then obviously they are stressful situations. But when I leave here, I've literally got no stress in the world. I can just go off, think about anything other than work. And I think when people, a lot of dog handlers, when they're stressed, they're stressed because when they go away from the site, is that they're still thinking about the site, they're still thinking about work, and it's just something that I don't really have to worry too much about. But like I say, that's the difference maybe between PAYE and self-employed, is that I have people sorting stuff out for me, whereas self-employed, they have to sort it out themselves. What are we at? An hour and 6 minutes. Right. If anyone's got any, I'll give you 2 an hour and 7 minutes. If anyone's got any last questions or any last comments, other than that, I think we'll leave it there. I will be back again on Thursday where we can have a chat. Obviously, Josh, you know, the Discord's there. If anyone wants to join the Discord, they can find me on social media. What I can probably do is I'll put a link down in the description. It's not there at the moment, but I'll put a link down in the description once this video is finished, for anyone that wants to join the Discord. And I'll say it's not the same as this live, but it is a little bit like a 24-hour helpline, whether that's you need some company or you've got some questions and different things like that. But yeah, so the Discord, I'll put it down there once this video is finished, and it goes out to the public. But other than that, we are coming up to an hour and 7 minutes. I will leave it there. Hope you got something out of this video. I hope there's something in this video that you found interesting. But yeah, other than that, I will see you on Thursday. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below for loads more videos. And as for now, I'll see you again on Thursday. Cheers for watching. See you later. Bye.